Okay, let's talk about some crazy Moon Knight. As you know, I'm talking about this series 2 episodes at a time, so I'm gonna give you a spoiler warning. If you have not watched episodes 3 and 4 of Moon Knight yet, you should probably leave if you care about spoilers. I just don't want this to be ruined for you because it is quite shocking what happens, particularly in the 4th episode. So you've been warned. If you have seen these episodes or you don't care, hi. So yeah, like a lot of these, I would love to just skip to the end and talk about that really shocking twist, but I gotta build up to it, so we'll get there. That 3rd episode, titled The Friendly Type, it was actually pretty badass. We remember the 2nd episode left off where Mark Spector is now in control of the body and we're in Egypt now. So Arthur Harrow has now found the dig site of Amit's tomb, so that was fast. I guess that race didn't last too long. So he and his crew are digging at the site, although I guess they're digging in the wrong spot, because Stephen Grant and Layla do end up finding the actual tomb in the next episode, which I'll get to. I will say though that Mark Spector is a badass. That first action scene where he's thrown down with those thugs, I was like, yeah, this is not Stephen Grant. This is a different person entirely. And we do get to see the conflict between the two different personalities in his head. It really does feel like Stephen Grant is not like a creation of Mark Spector. He is his own person, with his own memories and such. So I imagine that really must be a form of hell, you know, two people inhabiting the same body. They're constantly arguing with each other. Yeah, that must suck for that dude. And like I said in my video about the first 2 episodes, I'm pretty sure that there is a third personality in there. Especially after Mark Spector wakes up having killed a dude, and he's like, that wasn't me. It wasn't you, Stephen Grant. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there is someone else in there. Is it Jake Lockley? Probably. So now, yeah, I am curious, who is Jake Lockley? Who is he? What does he do? Does Khonshu know him? The 3rd episode also features this meeting of all these Egyptian gods, the Ennead, which I was like, holy shit. So Khonshu is not the only Egyptian god in this series. Are we gonna see like all the others? We don't. They actually talk through their avatars. They all have people that they act through. Yeah, you know how Mark Spector is the avatar of Khonshu. We see that all the other Egyptian gods, they also have their own avatars that, you know, they act their will through. Which, yeah, that's pretty interesting. So they have this trial where Khonshu is like, hey, guess what? Arthur Harrow is trying to release Amit. And man, these Egyptian gods, like on the council, they're dicks. They're assholes. They believe Arthur Harrow because Arthur Harrow is just a wordsmith. So basically they're like, all right, this guy has committed no offense yet, so he's fine. I hated that, honestly. It's like when Gollum villainizes Sam against Frodo. You're like, no, Gollum is wrong, Sam is right, but Frodo just doesn't see that. Pretty much the same thing happened here. Arthur is wrong, Khonshu is right, but the other gods just don't see that. And Khonshu doesn't have any proof, I guess. So the gods are like, all right, Khonshu, you suck. That's pretty much what happened. Although Mark Spector does learn from that one woman that there is another way that he could find Amit's tomb before Arthur Harrow does. So he goes to this black market collector, who I guess the actor who played him is no longer with us. That sucks. But we have this Moon Knight action scene here where, I mean, come on, this is awesome. And this is really one thing that differentiates Moon Knight from all the other MCU heroes, is that, well, first of all, we see Moon Knight gets impaled and stabbed and he's fine, so he's straight up invincible. That's pretty cool. Yeah, Khonshu says it's healing armor, and it certainly is. But also, Moon Knight is straight up killing people. Seriously, he's just stabbing them with those crescent darts and he's impaling them. I was like, holy shit. He is not like most other MCU heroes. He's like the Punisher. He's like an anti-hero. Because those guys, yeah, they are dead. I was not expecting that, honestly. And that was really cool. So now we're still trying to find Amit's tomb, and Layla is with him, which first of all, she's gorgeous. And second of all, she's more than just a love interest. She's actually helping him out on this adventure. There is that awesome shot where we see just how good of an actor Oscar Isaac is, where he switches personalities and it doesn't cut. He's like, all right, Steven, you're in. Cheers, love. Thanks a lot. I was like, whoa. Okay, yeah, a whole nother personality just took over. That's really impressive. And so in order to properly find Amit's tomb, we need the constellation in the sky from 2,000 years ago. And so Khonshu's like, all right, I'll change the sky, but the other gods will imprison me in stone. Hey, Steven, once this is done, tell Mark to free me. And so they change the sky. It's this really cool, colorful scene. And yeah, everyone else sees it as well, which you gotta think, they're thinking, oh my god, the end times are here. That's pretty nuts. But it was still pretty cool visually speaking. And so yeah, the other gods, sure enough, they do imprison him in stone, which then you see at the beginning of the 4th episode, that Khonshu is not the only Egyptian god who's imprisoned in stone. We see there are a whole bunch of them, which did get me thinking, alright, maybe these gods that are still around, maybe they are the assholes. Like, what gives them the right to still be out and around, while these other gods are forever imprisoned? I mean, Amit, sure, I get that. But Khonshu, no, that's injustice, and it must be corrected. And so yeah, here we are in the 4th episode, titled The Tomb, because this episode is straight up Tomb Raider. Because we are quite literally raiding a tomb. Specifically, the tomb of Alexander the Great, holy shit. Now, of course, I know that name, everyone knows that name, but I'm no history buff, so I don't really know the first thing about him. I do think it's kind of funny that Stephen Grant is falling for Layla and Layla's falling for him. I did feel those scenes though, honestly. I did feel the emotion from May Kalamaui. She's a good actress. And it's funny, after Stephen Grant kisses her, Mark takes over briefly and has himself just punch himself in the face. That was funny. I mean, you gotta wonder, is that cheating? I don't know. And so we are deep down in this tomb, and at one point we see this zombie thing. I was like, okay, we have zombies in the MCU now. And I'm not talking about some weird what-if zombies. I'm talking like a zombie. That's cool, if not really gross. Those clicking sounds that the thing made, they skeeved me out. Seriously, every time that thing made those clicking sounds like the Predator, I was like, ugh, it got under my skin. I don't like it. So good on Layla for sticking a flare in that thing's face, cause that thing deserved to go down. Also, Layla's a badass. Then we get to the scene where Arthur Harrow is talking with Layla, and he spills the beans about how Mark was a mercenary who may or may not have killed her father. And I was like, how does he know all this shit? Seriously, I don't know. That's actually one of the biggest things that has me scratching my head about this entire episode, and that includes the twist at the end, which, yeah, I'll get to that. But seriously, yeah, how did Harrow know all that shit about her past? Did Amit tell him or something? I don't know. I suppose that's as good a guess as any. And so Layla confronts Mark Spector about it, and he comes clean, and I was like, alright, well, that's curtains for your relationship. I hope you had fun while it lasted, because she is done. To be clear, he was not the one who killed her father, but he was there when it happened. And he goes on to say, oh yeah, his partner shot up everyone at the dig site, including him, so he should have died that day. And you remember, I think it was episode 2, where Khonshu said, you were nothing more than a corpse when I found you. So alright, the day that Layla's father died, that must have been the day that Khonshu found Mark Spector and made him Moon Knight, which I guess, okay, that's also the day that he met Layla. The backstory is starting to come together. Hopefully we'll get a clear explanation in the last 2 episodes. I guess we'll see. But then Harrow shows up and bam, he shoots Mark Spector twice right square in the chest. And yeah, I was like, holy shit, alright, what's happening here? Is Mark Spector gonna die? I imagine he's not gonna die, but he's gonna be in like some sort of limbo state or something. Khonshu's gonna find him and bring him back as Moon Knight or something. I don't know. And then we get the big twist of big twists. Here it is. We have Mark Spector. He wakes up in what looks like a mental, like an insane asylum. He's a mental patient. And we see like all the people from the last episodes. We have Donna from the museum. Layla's there. And so yeah, you're like, oh shit. What? Yeah, the first thought that comes into your head was the entire adventure of Moon Knight just completely in his head? Is Mark Spector just mentally insane? He has this Moon Knight action figure, which you're like, how? What the fuck is going on here? We see Arthur Harrow, he's like a psychiatrist. Mark Spector tries to get out. He actually ends up meeting with his Stephen Grant personality, like in person. Not sure how that's happening. And then we do see that there is another sarcophagus with someone else in there. So yeah, that must be the third personality. Probably Jake Lockley. Hashtag free Jake. Let's make that happen. And then last but not least, the true mindfuck. We meet Miss Hippo Goddess. And she's all like, hi. To which Mark Spector and Stephen Grant react like Miguel and Tulio seeing the Jaguar God. And that's where the episode decides to cut to black. I was like, you've got to be shitting me. Now I have to wait a whole nother week for answers? I want answers now. What is happening in this show? I mean, the show is called Moon Knight, and it takes place in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, so I imagine Khonshu and Amit and Moon Knight, I imagine that's actually what is happening in the MCU. So like this whole insane asylum thing, I imagine that is like a limbo state, or at least that's my theory. Maybe this is his judgment. My friend actually texted me, he was like, oh my god, this is right from the comics. I was like, holy shit, that's cool. So you've read that comic, alright, so you like know the answers. You know what's going on here, alright. Don't spoil it for me. I want to find this shit out for myself, cause this is some intriguing shit. I love that this show, Moon Knight, is so much more mature than a lot of other MCU titles we've gotten lately. This is taking itself really seriously, and I dig that. No pun intended. I still love the shit out of the show. The action is badass, and how it's dabbling in psychological horror now more than ever. That is awesome. And I can't wait to find out the answers in the coming weeks. So, episodes 3 and 4 of Moon Knight, The Friendly Type and The Tomb. Have you watched them yet? I certainly hope you have at this point, cause that shit's awesome. What are your thoughts on them? What are your theories? Whatever you think, go ahead and leave a comment. Let's get this conversation going. And of course, thank you for subscribing. Peace.